If you walked past Dennis Rader on a suburban street in Kansas, you wouldn't look twice, and that was entirely by design. He was a man who blended seamlessly into the backdrop of Middle America. Look at this photo of Rader as a young man. He served 4 honorable years in the United States Air Force before returning home to Wichita to marry and start a family. He built a life rooted in trust and stability. Here he is standing proudly in a group portrait, surrounded by children as a local Cub Scout leader. He also served as the president of his church congregation. He even spent years installing home security systems for ADT. Families literally trusted him to secure their doors and windows against outside threats. He was the ultimate embodiment of suburban background noise. He was completely invisible, precisely because his life was so intensely boring. Then, on January 15, 1974, a brutal, unseen force broke into the Wichita home of the Otero family. A 15-year-old boy came home from school that afternoon to find a nightmare. His parents and 2 younger siblings were dead, having been systematically suffocated and strangled. As we see in this graphic layout, the killer didn't leave a forensic name behind. Instead, he left a self-appointed acronym that defined his exact gruesome methodology: bind, torture, kill. How did an aggressively average church president commit 10 horrifying murders over 17 years, all without raising a single red flag among his neighbors? Rader operated with chilling detachment. He would break in and wait silently for hours until his victims returned home. In his own mind, these weren't human lives. He referred to them strictly as projects and hits. Before leaving the crime scenes, he consistently stole personal items. He took these objects home to keep his trophies, using them to privately relive the murders for years. But a fatal flaw lurked beneath his discipline. Rader had a severe narcissistic compulsion to be recognized as a mastermind. He called the police himself to report his own crimes. Later, he hid confession letters inside engineering textbooks at the local library to ensure everyone knew he was responsible. As time went on, he escalated his demands for attention. He mailed poems to local newspapers, taunting the investigators and demanding that the public fear him on his exact terms. Rader was operating in a twisted fame economy. For him, the physical act of murder was only half the equation. He needed the public terror and recognition to feel successful. Then, after 1991, the killings abruptly stopped. The letters stopped. Wichita fell into a long, tense silence. This diagram illustrates the frustrating reality for investigators. On one side, they had a perfectly clear DNA profile recovered from a crime scene, but on the other, they had a blank suspect silhouette. The genetic data had absolutely no name attached. For 13 agonizing years, the trail went entirely dead, and the killer walked completely free. During this long dormancy, Rader was busy living out his ordinary life. He continued to lead his church congregation and even took a job as a city compliance officer in Park City, Kansas. His camouflage had worked flawlessly. The monster had retired into total suburban obscurity, and he had gotten away with it. In March 2004, the 30th anniversary of the initial crimes approached, and local media began discussing an upcoming book project about the BTK case. Rader felt the authors hadn't credited him with enough specific detail. Infuriated by someone else telling his story, he broke a 13-year silence to reclaim control of the narrative. He began writing to the media again, and eventually sent a bizarre question directly to the police. He explicitly asked if a floppy disk could be digitally traced if he mailed one. Police executed a brilliant countermove. They took out a coded newspaper ad and lied to him, assuring him the disk would be completely safe and untraceable. Desperate to communicate with his audience, Rader believed them. He packaged up this standard black floppy disk and mailed it. His deep need for public validation completely overrode his basic instincts for self-preservation. This digital flowchart shows his disguise crumbling. The floppy disk's metadata traces directly to a church computer, pointing to Dennis Rader. This misstep led police to his daughter's medical records. Her familial DNA perfectly matches the original crime scene DNA. Rader was arrested in 2005. Inside this courtroom, he pleaded guilty to all 10 counts of murder, describing his horrific crimes in a flat, procedural tone that unsettled everyone in the room. The man who had hidden behind Boy Scout uniforms and community service for 3 decades was finally stripped of his camouflage. Dennis Rader was never outsmarted by a brilliant forensic breakthrough. His story proves that a perfectly constructed secret life can survive almost any external threat. The one thing it cannot survive is a human desperation for an audience.